Good morning, my friends. How are you? So, I saw the coolest thing, and it was from Joshua Jacks, who was the mediation director of that mediation program that many of us realtors took. And so he has a kind of workshop going on. Actually, interestingly, and I'm going to tell you the story. He put it out to give us notice, and he put it out, and it's Tuesday, and he had it being the first Tuesday, but it's actually next Tuesday. But can I tell you how many times I do that? If I'm promoting something more than a week away, I always mess it up and always put the next week and not the week after. So I felt for him. I had some empathy. So what I want to talk about was what he had asked that we're going to talk about is like, how are you feeling? And I just had it on my phone so we could talk about it. And I just put it in the, actually, I'll put it in the chat. That way I can see it also. Okay. So these are your punctuation marks. Okay. So it talks about, oops, there we go. So here's your punctuation mark, right? So the explanation mark is you're inspired, right? So that would be your punctuation mark for the day. And then the next would be the period is, do you have a story to tell? And then okay, so I got to make sure I get this right. So the period is, do you have a story to tell? And then the colon is, do you have a lesson to teach? And the question mark is, do you have a question to ask? And then the ... is, are you exhausted? And then the next one, which is the comma, is, are you ready for a break? And then, of course, the bunch of the top row ones are you angry? And then the semicolon is, are you mixed up? So the reason I thought this was kind of cool is because sometimes I think what happens in our mindfulness is that we're not checking in on ourselves and we are not labeling how we're feeling. And so sometimes being able to like have some sort of symbol for yourself, like maybe a punctuation mark or something where you're like, oh my gosh, this is an exclamation mark, point, whatever. I always say it wrong and my kids always correct me. Exclamation mark moment, or this is a definite top shelf, all caps, I'm angry, and just trying to figure out where you're at. Yesterday was Father's Day. And so I try to spend as much time on Father's Day doing somebody else's agenda, so not my agenda. And I realized that I just am in discomfort when I am following someone else. And whether it's my husband, which I kind of guided myself toward being available for whatever he wanted that day. That's what he always says he wants, is whatever I want. And then also getting in, seeing my dad. So it was successful. By the way, I bought my dad the same thing I bought him last year. So I'm returning it. And I'll tell that story another day. But as the day was going on, and I was like and again, I was reading and catching up on stuff on the side, but trying not to work, basically. And I wanted to label how I was feeling. And I also was observing how my husband was feeling, how my dad was feeling, at various points in time, my family members were there. And just kind of like trying to put a label on the moment and trying to say, like, this is fear, this is confession, this is vulnerability, and kind of, I don't know, trying to, and of course, being in my own discomfort of being at somebody else's schedule, not mine. So it was just an interesting day. And as the day was winding down, there were a lot of things I had not done, like grocery shop for the week and meal prep. And the dogs were out of their homemade dog food, and I hadn't done some things that I needed to do to be on schedule for work. And so I started getting in that discomfort at the end of the day, and I was like looking to see if I could check out of my whatever he wants day. Anyway, the reason I'm talking about this is that I feel like in summertime, we get torn in so many different directions. And yet we still have, as part of our profession, the tasks that go into our work, with like, for example, I have a transaction that I put on the market last week. So all of the things that came to getting that property ready. Okay. The open house was on Saturday. Offers are due, but today by 3. So okay. So all the prep to get the house on the market, all the prep for a successful, organized open house, right? Because parking was an issue at this place, and the neighbors and just safety and all that kind of stuff. So running a successful open house. So thank you, Heather McKay. You were awesome. You were the best team member on this. I loved it. So after it's done, all the things that have to be done after the open house, like letting all parties know how it went, checking in with all of the agents that sent their clients to the house to make sure that I checked in on them, answering questions that people had at the open house, following up, all that kind of stuff, making sure everything's in, making sure everything's recorded, everything, right? Then getting ready for the offers to come in and how to stagger that. In the meantime, new listing coming on, getting that house ready. So I literally went from open house to going to help the next listing, so still in my open house clothes, going and helping painting, right? So starting that process. So this process is at a scale of 1 to 10 at a 7. The new process is at a 2 or a 3, right? As well as getting the family members coming in for Father's Day and, my son's girlfriend coming in and like just all sorts of things, right? And trying to get the house ready. You know how it goes. So all of these different moving parts and also, I don't know, you get my point. A lot of different things at a specific point in time and wanting to do a good job at everything. And so I started this by saying, how do we label it? So how do you label how you're feeling? I'm feeling torn. I'm feeling like I want to finish my work and do a good job, but it's family time and I need to commit to being a better family member. Or I have done all my things. I'm getting myself ready. So, and again, I'm kind of like thinking about all the things I wanted to talk about today. So my suggestion to you and to me is that this idea of multitasking and just having all these things like I'm talking about, just doing all of them at once doesn't work. You got to be a ninja, right? So when I'm at the open house, I'm 100% at the open house. When I'm helping prep for the next listing, 100%. When I'm with my family, 100%. And structuring and labeling and getting yourself mindful of where you're at. I think that will help with this internal stress that kind of sits in our stomach when there's so much to do, right? And we're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? As I was driving in, so earlier today, I cleared my rituals from last week. I set my week up and I realized there's a lot I got to do. And I'm like, this is a ninja week for sure, right? So labeling, figuring out where you're at, making room for it, realizing there's going to be strain and trying to minimize how it's going to affect you personally, okay? And how it's going to affect your stress levels. And looking for those moments of joy, looking for those moments of happiness, getting shit done. All right. I will talk with you tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here with us. How do you like it, the fact that we're giving you the dates? I think that's pretty cool. So that way we can go back and we can see what the heck we were talking about at any given point in time. All right. Make it an amazing day. You guys are awesome. And I'm so grateful you're here with me. Thank you.